Good afternoon. I'm Marina Dabla, and today I'm going to talk about a geopolitical event that happened and that has an impact on e-learning, on the e-learning industry. So this is an in-depth presentation that is discussing the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on elementary education, and that's of course the e-learning industry. um Part of it, it highlights key statistics such as e-learning adoption, student engagement, and access to technology, and analyzes changes in e-learning practices such as remote classroom, digital literacy, and interactive learning tools. So this presentation also provides comparative data for the pre and the post events, analysis of e-learning adoption rate, technology access, and teacher preparedness, and it concludes with key takeaways to summarize the presentation. Okay. So I'm Mawena Dabla Igi, and I'm the presenter. And of course, like I said earlier, it's a geopolitical event, and that happened in 2020, uh, and it's still going on. So the pandemic has not concluded yet. And that is the sector we are focusing on, I said earlier, is elementary education. So we're going to start with a video, okay, that will just show us an example of how things have started in the elementary education or in schools, okay, during the pandemic.
Breaking overnight. Wake Up Charlotte's Chloe Lester now live at Poplar Elementary School in Union County, where students will not be in school today. Chloe, the school now going all virtual after an outbreak.
Yeah, good morning, Ben. 2 staff members tested positive for coronavirus. That is exactly what teachers and some parents were nervous about heading into this school year. And this morning, a new report shedding some light on just how much of a role kids may play in spreading the virus. Not even a full week into the school year, and Union County's Poplin Elementary will close until September 8th. 2 staff members tested positive for coronavirus, several others possibly exposed. As they begin the process of contact tracing to find out who is at risk, students will move online. This exactly what teachers warned would happen when they held a Drive to Stay Alive protest before the first day.
We're concerned for ourselves, but more than that, our duty is always to keep our children safe.
Union County students come for in-person learning 1 day a week. The closure comes as a new study from the Journal of Pediatrics suggests that kids are silent spreaders of coronavirus. They found kids carry high levels of the virus, and those who seem healthy may actually be more contagious than sick adults. This compounding the concerns of many.
And it's clear that the pandemic and the start of the school year have caused concern, anxiety, and some frustration.
If a student was in contact with one of those staff members, their families will get a call from the school nurse or the health department. Meanwhile, the school will be sanitized and disinfected. No staff member or student will be inside, though, for another 19 days. Live at Poplin Elementary School, Chloe Leshner, Wake Up Charlotte.
Okay, yeah, that's just an example of how it started. So in some schools, some teachers tested positive with the coronavirus, and so that made the district decide for the school to be closed. And like in the video, they were in school for 1 day, and 4 days they were at home. And in that district, school has just started. In our school district, that was pretty different. It was in February that it had started. And so basically the school was closed. School was closed, and then students they went home. And they decided that they will teach them remotely, even pre-K students. So imagine pre-K students, they don't have they never use iPad, for example, but they say they had to be able to learn remotely. So that's a pretty challenging situation. Now,
Breaking overnight.
So overview. So in general, so the transformation. So the pandemic has affected students, teachers, and parents, of course. How does it affect students? Of course, they were asked to just go home and to learn remotely, and teachers they have to be the one to teach those students, and then parents they usually have jobs. They don't stay home, but see their children are staying home now. They have to change their option, and which is challenging because some parents cannot just stop working. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has profoundly impacted elementary education that way. And then, so there were widespread school closures. So it led to a rapid shift to online learning platform. And it has brought also both significant challenges and new opportunities. Now, okay, how are the school taking it? So we see how in the first video how the school has decided that okay, they will stay home, but how are the school taking it? So we're going to watch another video that is just giving us an example of how challenging or how easy okay this situation can be to teachers.
It's no secret that with the pandemic disrupting schools and students again, people are stressed. Many parents worry their kids are falling behind. Teachers are exhausted and struggling too. Here's CBS's Janet Shamlin.
Florida high school teacher David Finkel has been teaching 29 years. With students on Zoom and in person, he's never been as stressed.
We are end of the year tired. We reach a point near the end of the year where you're like, wow, summer but can't come soon enough. And we already feel that way.
Schools across the country have implemented a patchwork of learning plans, but it's teachers charged with carrying them out, and it's taking a toll. An Illinois Education Association study found 27% of surveyed teachers said they considered giving it up because it's just too hard with distanced learning.
I don't want to leave teaching.
Mariah Klein is among them.
But I also don't know when this is going to be better. I don't know when it's going to feel like I'm not making things worse.
Klein teaches at the same suburban Chicago elementary school she attended as a child.
I felt such guilt of I could be the one that gets them sick. Or if I don't watch them carefully enough, they could get each other sick and bring it home.
We're going to focus on those character traits and the feelings.
Lynette Stant was featured in this YouTube video as Arizona's 2020 Teacher of the Year. She works with third graders on an Indian reservation where learning gaps existed long before the pandemic.
How is your mental health as a teacher right now?
This has been a rough week for me.
There's no in-person or virtual learning. She's sending work to their homes. The lack of contact is challenging.
I feel very isolated. I don't have anybody to collaborate with.
Frustration and fear among our nation's teachers at a time they're needed more than ever. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Chicago.
So true. Teachers are true heroes.
So basically, teachers face many different challenges during that period, and they were tired, they were stressed out because they were facing a situation that did not exist before. Okay, some of them wanted to quit. Some teachers are technology illiterate, which means they never learn about technology. In some remote earlier areas of the United States, they don't have access to technology. So that's a pretty challenging situation, and it's understandable. Okay.
It's no secret.
Now, let's look at some key statistics. So 300% increase in the use of e-learning platform in elementary education since the pandemic has started. So they started using Google Classroom a lot, Zoom also. So they became some essential tools overnight, and we as teachers we have to help each other out. I remember I was head of department at that time of my language department, and I have teachers that I had to log in for, and I had to teach after school every afternoon how to have access to Zoom and how to use them in the classroom. So uh, they are just absent every day because they cannot log in. They don't know how to log in. All right, so there were 300% increase, and then student engagement. And so they surveyed some parents and they asked them how they think students are engaged during the pandemic. And they say 65% of them say they noticed that students were more engaged compared to when they were using traditional methods like paper and pencil in the classroom during learning. And so we were still using interactive tools like Kahoot, uh, uh, quizzes, Quizlets. Okay, those are the things that we can make the class interesting because the students are on the other side. We don't know what they're doing, but we want to them focus, want to get them interested in the learning. So which is why there were teachers started finding interactive tool that can interest the student a lot. And the parents have noticed that 65% they reported higher engagement. And now access to technology, okay, only 40% of elementary school no, I would say only 60% of elementary students they have access to technology. So 40% of it uh, lack access to necessary technology for online learning at the beginning of the pandemic. So some school districts they have uh, access to many technology that they send students home with. And but however, they still lack uh some of those students who has technology at home, they still don't have access to internet at home, for example. And so they had to find way to accommodate them. But at the beginning, it was very challenging, it was stressful, and students were not showing up, okay, just because they have a technology, but they don't have internet at home. Okay. So there were some initiative like device distribution, hotspot distribution. It happened in my school district, and I heard it happened in so many school districts just to help to bridge this gap of 40% of elementary students who lack access to technology. Now, there were also changes in e-learning practices. So first, we have remote learning classroom. That's what we have been talking about since I started this presentation. So we shift from in-person to remote learning environment, and it was all over the United States. So we use video conferences, that the one that I mentioned before, Google, Zoom, even Canvas, okay, to conduct live classroom. At the beginning, we decided that decided that the classroom needed to be live. Then later, after some PD, they told teachers that they can be synchronous and asynchronous. So synchronous is when the lesson is live. Asynchronous is when when you do a recording and then you send it to students to work with. All right, now the second thing that is reflecting a change in e-learning practice is digital literacy. So there were increased focus on teaching digital literacy skills. So if I mentioned earlier that pre-K students, that was the first time that they were using iPad. They never have access. Some of them never have access to iPad, but they still have to learn, okay, online. So which means the school have to teach more digital literacy to those kids. And up to this day, in my third grade classroom, during the first couple of weeks when school starts, I have to make sure that the digital literacy is something that is in my lesson plan almost every day, because students had to take their devices home and work on assignments, and it's kind of challenging if they lack these digital literacy skills. All right. And also, we started using interactive learning too. Some teachers they are used to that already, but we focus more on that because it is what we make the class interactive, and what we make the class uh, uh, how do you say, interesting, and then more fun for the student. And apps like seesaws and nearpod, uh, Quizlet, quizzes, and all that Kahoot, they allow for more and interactive assignment and assessment. Okay. All right, now let's look at some comparative data. So pre versus post event analysis. So the e-learning adoption rate, it was 10% before. Okay, that's in the whole United States. And after COVID-19, it has it went up to 40%, which is huge. And now technology access. So earlier, as I said, only 60% of students they have access to technology, and they are the government and the school district, they are trying to just raise that number by giving more access to students uh, to technology, okay? And that has paid off because after the pandemic, we noticed that 80% of students, they have access, according to the World Bank, they have access to technology. And this number is increasing until up to this day. Now, before the pandemic, only 50% of the teachers, they felt prepared, and now 75%, okay, say they are prepared after the pandemic. And this number is still increasing because we are still teachers are still having those professional development that we help them in that domain. Now, what is the key takeaway from this? Number one, so the pandemic has significantly accelerated the adoption of e-learning in elementary education. So some schools implement e-learning strategy, and they are continuing, okay, with it, okay. I gave some example later in my, I gave some example earlier, I'm sorry. So in my, okay, classroom, okay, I still have to continue to the digital literacy skills, okay, that students are not used to in the previous classes, first and second grade. So I had to focus on that more in third grade. And takeaway number two, digital literacy skills and access to technology remain critical challenges and opportunity. So in every school, okay, they that have access to that technology, that have Chromebook that they give to students, they have to also make sure that they have access to internet at home. So in my school, for example, in my school district, they have hotspot available for students to use, okay, when they need it. So they just had to ask for it, and then they will give it to them. They want to close that gap. Now, the takeaway number three. So this rapid shift to online learning, it has highlighted the need for ongoing support and professional development for teachers. And teachers are still, okay, going to those professional development. New technology are coming out every day. Zoom was a new technology that came out, and we didn't know anything about it until, okay, we were facing the pandemic, and we really want to use them. Now they are preparing us. Whatever new technology is out, okay, they try to incorporate incorporate it into our daily routines sometimes, and we had to go through a lot of PDs in order for us to understand, okay, those new technology. Now, calling to action. This shift is shaped the future of elementary education. And the pandemic significantly accelerated the adoption of e-learning, highlighting the need for digital literacy, technology, and ongoing support for teachers. Now, where do we go from here? School district government, in my opinion, they have to invest in technology infrastructure for school, because schools that are in the remote areas in some school district of some school district or cities or states, they still don't have access to that technology. We want to bring, so it was 80% that have access to technology after the pandemic, but we want that number to go higher. If it can be 100%, that would be great. Now, the professional development that teachers lacked during the pandemic, we are proposing that they need to continue that professional development for those teachers, okay? And also, we had to implement policy to ensure that equitable access to digital learning resources are available for those students. So, like, they will continue have passport available for students who really need it, okay? And okay, so that's about it for my presentation, and those are some of the references. Thank you for your time and attention. Goodbye.